to email lists. Joshua, you were just saying that Joshua has some very, very good thinking on this that I want to hear about. Is if you're not paying attention to your people aren't going to pay any attention to you. And whether they're on your email list, or whether it's a phone list, or whether it's a ManyChat list, or whether it's a Facebook group, if you're not paying attention to your people, you can't expect them to give a crap about you just because you need something or you want to make some money right now. That's not how this works. Okay, you got to plant the seeds. You got to water them. You got to weed the garden if you want your shit to grow. And it's still true. And so it's really important. I struggle with gardening. Gardening is not my number one. Like doing the consistent daily maintenance things are not where I thrive. And so you either need to get over it and do it, or you need to get some people in and around your team that can help to pick up the pieces where you're not as strong. And this yesterday's meeting was all about how to build a really great team. So I can talk all day long about this, but Joshua, what are your thoughts when you have when you have a list that you've built that seems dead, or when you have a list that used to make a lot of money and it has died over time? Like, what's the answer? What's the solution? How do you build that connection with people so they really genuinely are looking forward to hearing from you and hopefully looking forward to the new products and services that you release?
Well, first off, let me just mention something that maybe isn't as obvious to people, because when you say that you're not as good with that, is that the reason why it still works for you is that your communications are still coming off as authentic and genuine when you do it. So people don't doubt what you're doing is from a very genuine space. And so the authenticity of why you're doing it, your come from, or whatever you want to call it, is from that space always. And that comes across in all of your communications, whether you do it intentionally with the farming of the development of the message, or just when you do whatever it is that you do on, that is part of your stupid human trick. When you're performing your stupid human trick, i.e. sharing your art with the world, people are automatically being enrolled, like we discussed yesterday, in you and what you're about. And that is the glue. That is the responsiveness asset that really helps. So I just wanted to point that out. There's a concept that I'm sure everybody's familiar with, the 1,000 True Fans. Have you all heard about this?
If you haven't, I'm just gonna get a link right now because
I beat you to it. I just did it.
Okay, good.
I set up a quick redirect, 1,000 True Fans. It redirects to the originator of the whole concept.
Kevin Kelly.
I'm sorry?
Kevin Kelly.
Okay. I forget his name, but I remember the concept. And that's really what you're looking to cultivate with people. If you've ever read the book by John Locke, How I Sold 5-point-something million ebooks, or whatever the thing was in 6 months or less, one of the things that he talks about, he struggled for years trying to sell, even just 3,000 copies of one of his books. And then he figures this out, and it's all based on the 1,000 True Fans concept. But what he was doing was just building a subculture inside of the list. So anybody that read his book, that loved his stuff, that would want to be part of his author newsletter, he would manually put them on a separate list and get their email address, and he would physically go back and forth with this and cull this relationship on a one-to-one basis with it. And he never did get it to 1,000, at least when he published that book back in the day. But what he did do is he got it to, if my memory serves me, 600, what he would call true fans. And they were the ones that were responsible for him doing, millions of units sold within a 5-month period. Because of that. So that's your true fan base. And a very simple understanding right here is like the folks that are part of Tellman's The Art of Email Marketing, which we all are members of, the 1,300 and change that are all members. And then they're the people that show up here on the lives, whether you're, a regular and you stick around for the whole thing, or whether you come back later on and you listen to it when you can, and if you can't be here live. But those are the people that are really engaged, and these are the ones that are part of the true fan base, if you will, that are engaged, and this is the essence. So I look at it in 3 stages, right? The first is, and kind of marketing has evolved this way. First was the attention age. You had to, quote unquote, capture somebody's attention. Okay. And so, and it makes perfect sense, right? We all know the AIDA formula: attention, interest, desire, and then action. That's the steps to a sale. And you can't close somebody. The most important part is their attention, but it's how you get their attention and in what way. Then the next step of the evolution was what shifted into mind share. So how do you position the attention, and how does it then occupy a certain space in somebody's mind, such that when they hear from you, or when they get a communication from you, or when you get engaged here with them, that they immediately think of you. And that's kind of like a mental platform, if you will, right? When mentally you have a shared space in their mind, and it has to be around a specific subject, right? So when they hear a specific concept, they think of you because you're the one that has converted that attention into, they're willing to, give you a space of mind share, right? Then there's the ultimate, which is heart share. And this is something completely different because it shifts from the attention to mind share. I mean, it's a very specific shift, right? Because you can capture somebody's attention. You can do it in disingenuous ways. You can do it through interruption means. You can piss people off, but you're still capturing their attention. And back in the day, it didn't matter because you could interrupt enough people, you could capture them through any means, and it was still cheap enough to then get the people that were, the timing was right at that particular juncture, that you could actually do business with them on some level. Well, then you shifted over to based on building authority, and based on who you are and your expertise and your following. You've now converted that attention into mind share, where they now believe that you have enough authority, enough influence with them that they now believe it, right? Mm-hmm. But the heart share aspect of it is the hardest, but that's where the true fans live, because you can't capture heart share. Heart share has to be given. Mm-hmm. It has to be based on their amount of where they credit you with, they become enrolled in whatever the messaging is, and they equate you with that. So it's beyond an authority, it's beyond a leadership. That's when you become their trusted advisor, that type of relationship that starts to exist with people. Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, we have a kind of like a lifelong mentorship arrangement, right? And so it's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. And really, that's what happens when you connect up with your people in a deep and meaningful way. You'll end up having fans for the rest of your life.
It also means having the integrity to tell somebody when whatever you're working on isn't right for them, right? Just because you can make a buck doesn't mean that you should be attempting to enroll them if it doesn't serve them, if it's not truly in their best interest as well as yours. And if you truly operate from that space and know that there's enough people that will line up with what you're doing and not feel that desperation, it's the old law of bankers, right? Banks only lend money to people that don't need money.
That's right. That's right.
If you've got desperation written across your head, like I got to make this sale, well, that's a surefire way to make sure that somebody's going to run like the dickens from you because they want nothing to do with you, right? And on the other hand, when you're fully engaged and they get it, you don't have to say much. Because who you're being and the connection that ends up taking place with you and them, whether it's via email, whether it's via these live streams, whether it's the chat box, whether it's on your profile page or your YouTube channels or whatever, you've got the ability to connect with people there, and they get it. They get it. They might not like everything that you have to say. They might not agree with everything that they have to say, but they know that you got their back, and that, yeah, could you screw up and say things that are wrong or present it in a way that gets misconstrued? Absolutely. We all do that. But at the end of the day, these are the people that get, yeah, maybe you piss me off, but I get that you're trying to be in my best interest and that you're standing for me or whatever.
That's
and
right.
I think it's really important, particularly in the internet community, to have the integrity to say no, not as a technique, not daring them, not doing a negative sell or a takeaway close, like, you don't qualify to be a part of this with me and blah, blah, blah. No, to genuinely only present it and to tell somebody, look, this isn't for you, and mean it in a very genuine space, whatever it is, whether it's a $27 ebook or a $10,000 boot camp training program.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's kind of like if you sell specialty 500-pound weights for like bench pressing, right? Custom made 500-pound plus bench press weights. Like, you're not going to, like, you should not sell that to someone who's just trying to get in shape for the first time in the gym. As a general rule, unless they're buying it for like to sit around as a sculpture in their house. It's just like, yeah, it's not, maybe that's a bad metaphor. It was a little bit of a weak metaphor, to be fair. But yeah, it's the kind of thing where you don't want to have, the last thing you want is to have a bunch of unhappy customers and clients because they bought into your program, your product, your service, and it clearly is a mismatch. It's just like, don't sell vegans grass-fed hot dogs just because you can. That maybe that's a little bit better.
Well, that and I used to use that analogy all the time. Like, if you've got a list of vegetarians, don't try to subscribe them to Steak of the Month Club, because even if you trick them into it, they're going to be pissed at you. Now you've broken that trust.
That's right.
And
that's right. And
never. Yeah.
Bad news travels 10 times faster than good news. As a general rule, you piss somebody off, everybody's going to know about that real fast. You have like 100. What's that?
Everybody wants to bitch. So
everybody
they're
wants to bitch. That's right.
An excuse to get pissed at you.
Yep.
And they don't need much.
Nope. It can even just be like a bad feeling that they have, and then and people go off. So it is a pretty big thing. So let me ask you guys, is any of the, like, what's been helpful here today, right? What's been helpful or insightful during today's live stream? And or what challenges or questions are you guys facing right now, right? In terms of list responsiveness, what do you need help with building a highly responsive list, whether it's an email list or otherwise? Where are you stuck or challenged right now? Are you trying to revive a dead list? Are you trying to get more traffic? Are you trying to figure out how frequently you should be writing to your email list? Are you having trouble being inspired to write? Do you not know if you should be doing Facebook Lives or if you should be sending your email every day or email list daily? Like, what's the challenge or hang up that you're facing right now as it revolves around email marketing and making the kind of money from your list that you want to in your business? Like, what's tripping you up? Where are you stuck? We really want to understand where you're at right now so we can help.
Great question.
So let me see. I'm just looking at some of the comments and seeing if there's anything I missed.
Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it.
Awesome, Ben. So you know what? I want to know if you guys don't have any questions, what niche or market are you in? Let's start there as a springboard. And if you genuinely don't know, or you're trying to choose between multiple niches or markets right now, let us know that in the comments as well. So what niche or market are you in? And maybe we can start there in order to figure out how to ramp things up for you, right?
Some coming in, just so you're aware, because of the delay, we forget that there's a 30-second or so delay.
Great.
Donald says revive a dead list, how to reconnect. Patrick mentioned selling influence, copywriting, marketing strategy training, and I responded back to him about perhaps he could be a little bit more specific about what in those areas of selling influence, of copywriting, of marketing strategy training that you would like some additional help with, or what specific areas are giving you the hangups? Where are you stuck, or what would you like to see be smoothed out and be better? And then Marilyn says, I'm in the herbal and natural health market. My list is growing, but I want to get higher open rates and click-through rates.
Great.
Okay.
Jacqueline says, I have 5 lists, 1,920 people on my phone. How do I email them or transport them to MailChimp or One Shopping Cart? How do I get all these lists together? So I think you know the answer to this, Jacqueline. You export all of your lists, you put them all on a spreadsheet, and then you import them into one system to mail them. And if that's MailChimp, congratulations. I wouldn't do it with the people on your phone unless they're customers. Okay? Unless they're customers.
Another thing is make sure that they're worthy of being imported. Like, are you going to get the bang for the buck that you're hoping to get for it? Or are you just looking to, not miss out on those 1,920 contacts and have that kind of feeling of, oh my God, I'm going to lose these guys if I don't put them on my email list.
Right. But you don't want to just take like business cards that people gave you. Or you don't want to just take people from your phone and stick them on an email list and start broadcasting them. Like, they do not want that. They're not asking for that. The people on your phone, you should call them up one at a time and have a conversation with them about how they're doing, and find a way to serve them one at a time. And then they're going to pay attention to you. And if and when it's appropriate, you can tell them about your list. But until then, no. Serve your personal contacts first. Don't just put them on a list and broadcast them. But yeah, if you have 5 lists, consolidate them, put them in a mailing system, and start communicating with your people, Jacqueline. You can do that today, right? So I'm going to
use the same approach that you did with your email too on the phone. If what you have for in your phone are actual messenger, like a cell phone, mobile phone list, I wouldn't go right for the jugular and kill, go for inviting them into whatever, or, start selling them or pushing them down some coast. But you could do the exact same approach. Hey, I've been thinking about you and wondering if you're okay. And, is there anything that I can do to be of service to you, of help to you? And then just leave it like that. And you don't have to do dear so-and-so or whatever, because, whatever the medium's typical approaches will work well. And then from there, if the connection warrants it, and if the back and forth warrants it, then you can say, hey, this might be of help to you, and point them to a piece of content or a quote unquote squeeze page, which everybody knows by now that I hate that term, but whatever, to get your, to serve them. But now it's at their request, just like Telman was talking about with his webinar. It wasn't pushed down their throat. It was in response to their response. And even then he said, hey, if you're interested, let me know and I'll shoot you the link when it's available. And so now it's all in their hands. And that's the definition of enrollment based marketing as opposed to mind share marketing or attention based marketing as a standalone.
That's right.
He's shifted it over into heart share type marketing.
And just because you're using the term or thinking around the heart share idea doesn't mean you get to be vague. It doesn't mean you get to be non-specific. It doesn't mean you get to be wishy-washy or lame. That doesn't mean you can have your marketing suck and get away with it. Just because you care doesn't make you money. You gotta hone your marketing and sales and your copywriting skills right along with improving your empathy, your emotion, your connection, your compassion for other people. They're not mutually exclusive at all.
Ben, let me just say that Mindshare Marketing, I don't know who owns that domain now, but I can tell you who coined the phrase and who trademarked it and who came up with it back in the day, because he was a friend of mine and we were working together. His name is Matt Smith. Not that anybody would necessarily know him. He's been behind the scenes on a whole bunch of really big. He's a brilliant entrepreneur and marketer, and but he actually came up with the term mindshare marketing when we had a back when we were building out the online lotto site. We acquired a trivia company, and we had the game be about finding the different trivia answers within the ads, and he termed it mindshare marketing. And I don't know if he actually registered the domain way back then and then sold it or whatever he did, but I don't know if he has any connection with who formed the mindshare marketing domain name. But that was back in the day. Actually, I think we looked into trademarking and patenting it. Obviously, we didn't ever follow through on that, but it's pretty cool idea, because what the whole idea was, and it was based on, I think it was maybe Joe Sugarman's concept of circle my spelling errors in this ad. I don't know if that was Ted Nicholas or Joe Sugarman, but the idea of getting people to engage and find the different things inside the marketing piece, find his typos, find his things, and send him, mail in the ad with the typos corrected, and he turned it into a contest model. Well, guess what? If they're reading it that close, they're actually engaging with the marketing, and he's got a share of their mind. And in that moment, it's mind share marketing. So that was the idea. And the heart share marketing is my twist on this. And just before you even bother looking for it, I own the domain and all of the offshoots connected with heart share marketing in general. And it's because on two sides, it's about sharing the heart, like they share with you, but it's also about you getting a piece of their heart share. And the only way you can get a piece of their heart is if they willingly enroll themselves in deciding to give you that piece of the heart. So I just wanted to make that distinction there. Anyway, go on.
Jacqueline, don't worry about any of that crap. Just build a squeeze page registration for your webinar and move forward. You're overthinking this by 1,000 times. Name, email, opt-in, webinar, good to go. Don't overthink it. You're way overcomplicating this. You know what a squeeze page looks like. You don't need to make it all crazy. That's my opinion. What do you think, Joshua?
I think you hit the nail on the head. You can make yourself crazy with all these tools and still find yourself more paralyzed than ever before, when in fact it just becomes another barrier to getting in the game and actually molding the clay. Figure it out when you screw it up. And only make a change, only get a tool if it's in direct answer to something that hasn't gone the way that you want it to go, but based on in the trenches actually getting stuff done. And then you say, well, I would like to automate this, or I'd like to make this smoother, or I'd like to improve my results here. And then what can I do to do that? Then you would be asking a specific question based on a specific problem that you're facing. But right now you're worried about all of the possible things that you could encounter, and you don't know yet whether you will or not, and where the true breakdowns are.
I want to really underscore that is, Jacqueline, this is, and you're not alone in this, okay? All the other people that are watching that are experiencing something similar, that are not interacting because they don't want to like feel weird about it or whatever, you're their voice right now. And so I just want to commend you and applaud you for actually asking the question and voicing some of your thoughts and concerns, even if it's frustrating. And what I want to say is, yeah, this is a pattern you have. Stop it, right? Is like, it is not helpful for you to get paralyzed by technology options. It is a total fucking waste of your time. You've got to stop it. It is absolutely standing in your way of success. Do not do that anymore. Set up your squeeze page. I want to see it today in the next 2 hours. I need a link. Send me a link in 2 hours. Seriously, stop questioning everything. Just set it up. Please, for the love of God. Like,
I don't know if you've ever read the book Bird by Bird, but in it, the author, Anne something or other, talks about shit first drafts. That's exactly what, you're not writing a book necessarily or an article, but you are doing a shitty first draft. You got to get something before you can edit it and improve it and tweak it. And so even if it's shitty, get a shitty first draft up and running that you actually get people to go through and see what happens with it.
Let's move forward, right? Don't let yourself keep on getting stuck in the weeds on this. Like, just because there are options doesn't mean you should use them all, right? Oh, this is actually really great. I saw a comment here that says from Ryan that he's wasted so much time with the same thing. And here's the thing: as technology progresses, as your marketing knowledge,
I do too, by the way.
yeah, all do, and that's like why it's a charged topic. Is it's easy to get distracted by options, and you need to build up like some mental calluses to alarm you when that happens, and to remind you to just get shit done, right? Get it done. So there's no need to keep wasting time.
Yeah, I agree, Marilyn. And I hope it's not coming off that we're blaming Jacqueline for anything. We aren't trying to shame anybody or to make anybody feel bad. I deal with this every day. I mean, just this morning, as a prime example, I was, we were talking about the domain names and my domain name addiction. Well, it's the same thing, these are I get them because I think that I might one day, like, I don't want to lose the idea. And so we can get that way about the tools, but then all that ends up doing is it creates the overwhelm. And then this morning I was also on, if you've ever spent any time on AppSumo, it's a great service and you can get some really awesome deals, but you can lose your effing loving mind on there because everything looks like you want to get it and use it. And it's the deal of the century and you got it. And then but at the end of the day, what I've taught myself at any rate is to ask myself, am I going to use this right now in my life to improve what I've got, what I'm struggling with in this moment? And if the answer is yes, then I don't necessarily altogether jump into it, but I definitely then go pair backwards and put it in a strong consideration pile as something that I might do and see what my options are there. And it's the same thing when you're subscribed to all of these different lists and you're getting bombarded with different email conversations. There's certain lists that I don't feel that I can unsubscribe from, but I delete everything that comes in from them. And the reason why is that I purchased something from them before and I don't want to lose my access to the product. Well, they know that, but what they don't know is that they've abused the privilege with me that they no longer have any of my heart share, they no longer have any of my mind share, and they no longer have any of my attention, because when I see their name in my inbox, I don't even look at what the subject line is. Delete, 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 delete. And I don't, unless it has something to do with the paid product. And so what I suggest that people do is unsubscribe from everything that if you won't read it and stop what you're doing when it comes in, or read it by the end of the day because it has that kind of meaning from you, either unsubscribe from it altogether. You can always resubscribe later on, or if you need to have access to a product that you purchased before, then put a filter on it so that it automatically goes to your spam folder or some other folder that you can review 10 months from now and see if you missed anything important, because then you'll still have access to it. But it doesn't take up any of your attention, any of your mind share, or any of your focus.
That's right. That's right. I'm looking
at Patrick's.
Well, I saw a comment, but I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, it is Patrick. Okay. My biggest challenge is now to transfer my 27,000 members on meetup.com to an email list of my own. On Meetup, I can send them emails, but I don't have their email addresses. Also, too few of my members actually know what I do because I've been, hold on, let's see more, focused mainly on building the community. So until now, I almost haven't really promoted me as the marketing sales funnel guy. So they see me mostly as the community host. So I'm building lead magnets now that will get them to subscribe to my own list. I'm probably overcomplicating it. Great, Patrick, I've gotten answers. So can you send them an email with a link? So if you do, if you can, then all you need to do is do a virtual meetup on Zoom, okay? Not all of them will respond, but if you start doing a virtual meetup once a week on Zoom, and you title your new and if you can send them a link. Now, if you can't send them a link, well, then what can you send them? I don't know. Maybe you can send them a phone number to a pre-recorded message. Maybe you can send them your personal phone number or a Google phone number. Maybe you can have them, maybe you can set up a texting service where they can text you so that you can stay in direct contact with them, and then use texting as a broadcast option. And maybe you can try all of those. So I'm not sure what the restrictions of Meetup are. I suspect that Meetup is probably going to, I would be shocked if Meetup hasn't come up with a solution for Meetup group owners to go virtual. I haven't looked at it, but I would be shocked if they haven't come up with something. So one way or the other, I don't think you need to build lead magnets in order to move forward, Patrick. I think what you need is you need to have meetup groups on specific topics that you are hoping are going to serve your people. And I would start, depending on the nature of your group, hopefully it's of business owners and entrepreneurs. So what would happen if you just said how to convert your offline business into an online business? And if you want a webinar to do for your meetup members, that's probably what we're due to talk about. Then we could totally do a cool webinar about how to do that for your people and get a bunch of people on your email list and make a bunch of money at the same time. So happy to chat about that. We need to follow up anyway. So,
and Patrick, I just want to offer you a quick reframe as well. And by the way, he answered that, yes, he can send them a link in there. So problem solved. But with you being the host and the community host, you're in the best position of all, because you've never come out and, you're there to serve them. You're there to organize things. And so when you do this, and it's just a natural progression, Telman's suggestion of a virtual meetup on Zoom is brilliant. And that will come off as a service to them, because it is a service to them. And very soon you become the expert. It's the same thing that Telman did back in the day with List Crusade, when he was interviewing all these guest experts and all of the top people. Well, sooner or later, there became this demand for Telman's insights, because he became a true expert in marketing, in personal development, and in his own style of it came through. But in the beginning, all he was doing was hosting and being a good host to all of these brilliant people, which is exactly what you've done. And so now the rapport, though, that ends up happening, and the the relationship that you've built is with you. It's not with the people that that are the guest experts. It's with you. You're the magnetic glue, if you will, that has pulled this all together. So you're going to be surprised that when you start to move some of these people into the virtual meetups or however you choose to do it, it could be as simple as, hey, I'm thinking about putting a virtual meetup group together on Zoom. If you're interested, shoot me I'm an interested response here, and I'll get you the info on it.
Yep. I completely agree. Marilyn made a great suggestion along these lines as well, which is, I would quote unquote, I would suggest the meetup guy, Patrick, also move people to a Facebook group and post in there and post to your opt-in page. Absolutely. Yeah. And there's no reason not to put them in a Facebook group as well. Just remember, name the stuff and have it be topically appropriate. So if you're going to do a meetup group for restaurants on how to increase your average order value when people are buying at your restaurant, like if that's the topic, like use the same topic. Or if you've had wildly successful physical meetup groups in the past, then just dupe it. Do the same thing in a webinar format and give people the ability to connect, because as business owners or entrepreneurs, like everybody's super lonely. And all these local business owners, their only social connection used to be their team, and they don't see them anymore. And so you can provide that to them and totally change the game. And I think you should hustle on that. I'm curious, Patrick, how often can you send email to those 27,000 meetup members? Because I would love to work with you on blowing that sky high, because that's just a freaking gold mine waiting. Yeah, sure. I would love to work with you on that.
Yeah. That's a fun one and an easy one, brother. I think you're going to be shocked at how quick. I mean, we should actually report back the results here as a case study if he wants to do that, because I think it's going to just rock his world when he sees what's possible with this type of connection.
All right, everybody. Very good. We'll talk to you all soon. Over and out.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye.